Paraguay is not one of the most efficient countries in the world. Some argue it is one of the least efficient countries. And some people think that maybe it's not worth moving to this country, moving to Paraguay, because you're just not going to get a lot of productivity out of everyday life. And if you want to start a business, you want to hire people, then efficiency, productivity are two very important things. This became very apparent to me as I was getting gasoline at the gasoline station the other day. And it turned out that I was waiting 30 minutes to be served. I mean, it was not a self-service gas station. I had to wait for somebody to be available to pump my gas. And this is totally unimaginable. If you are from the US, Canada, Western Europe, or Australia, waiting 30 minutes to get gasoline is just completely not normal. It's something that you would never expect, and probably it would be seen as unacceptable in the Western Hemisphere. Here in Paraguay, this is completely normal. Now, why did this happen? And I'm going to walk you through a couple more examples of how inefficient the local economy functions here in the heart of South America. This basically happened because on a Monday, they had a special promo running for Itaú Bank. And a lot of people typically wait until Monday so that they can use either their credit card or debit card to pump gas, and they usually get like a 15% discount on the purchase price, on the factura, right? And so a lot of people end up getting gas on Mondays, which is normal. They only had 2 people working there, 2 young women, but they basically had 6 available slots to pump gas. Now, in a normal world, under any promotion, this would never be possible because typically people show up when things are on sale, when a discount is available, and that's when people do it. And on top of that, it wasn't just about the waiting time. Something else was happening at the gas station. So simultaneously, that really opened up my eyes, made it clear to me that this country is not efficient, but on top of that, people actually mix their personal lives with their business lives here in Paraguay. Let me explain to you what happened. Basically, the 2 women that were at the gas station, they ended up spending probably 15 to 20 minutes servicing one client. The 2 guys on the motorbikes. I mean, something like this would never happen in the US. It wouldn't happen in Canada, and certainly not in Western Europe. Here in Paraguay, this happens all the time. This is just one example. You could run into the same issue in a number of places. Let me give you another example. Also something that happened very recently as I was having breakfast. Usually, for something very basic, like scrambled eggs and coffee Americano, you shouldn't wait longer than probably 15 minutes. I think 15 minutes is probably the cutoff time. If it takes any longer than 15 minutes, you're probably dealing with a very inefficiently run restaurant. And that's exactly what happened. And the restaurant where I ended up eating out was actually a franchise. I'm not gonna mention the name for obvious reasons. However, it also became clear to me that everything takes forever here. Being served breakfast in the US would probably happen in less than 15 minutes, sometimes less than 10 minutes. Here in Paraguay, you can expect to wait anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes in lots of places. Sometimes there's just no way for you to have breakfast because you have a tight schedule. Maybe you work from an office. You just can't afford to do that. When eating out in Paraguay, and this holds true for Paraguayans as well as foreigners, you should plan to be outside for probably about 2 hours. And at the very minimum, you should plan in to spend at least an hour for eating at the restaurant because service is just not that efficient here. You could wait as little as 15 to 20 minutes, but don't be surprised if the waiting time increases to 30 to 40 minutes. Things happen much slower here. Paraguayans have a more relaxed approach. We're talking about dining out, servicing a client, like everything just isn't up to westernized speeds here. This is something you're going to have to accept when coming here. You're just not going to get first class service. It doesn't exist. So yes, you pay less, and this holds true for services in all categories. You pay less than you would in the US, Canada, Western Europe, Australia. However, the service quality you receive is also inferior in a lot of places. In some categories, most of the times. You're just not going to be serviced by well-trained staff. And because of that, the processing time increases, the service quality is deteriorated drastically, and because of that, you may not be as happy as you are right now in your home country. Anyway, I'm not trying to scare you away from Paraguay because there's a lot of good value here. People are friendly, they're welcoming to foreigners, and there is a relaxed attitude surrounding work here. And people often mix their personal lives with their business lives here, or they mix their job with their personal lives, and oftentimes they don't even know the difference. They don't know how to differentiate. They don't know how to perhaps not address certain personal things while being at work. And so because of this mixed mentality, the service quality is just not there. Another reason why Paraguay is not very efficient is you just need to have a look at how long it takes you to incorporate a business here. You could wait up to 2 months to have it fully incorporated. The same process would take less than 2 business days in the US. Here in Paraguay, you're looking at probably 30 to 60 days just to get the business incorporated, which does not include opening up a corporate bank account. Another important thing I wanted to mention about hiring people and how contracts function here, like typically when a company hires someone here in Paraguay, they're being given a 1-week trial period. If the person does not work out during that 1-week trial period, they kick him out and never see them again. They move on to the next person. And oftentimes, let's say you're an employee and you give this company a week to see if you're a good fit for them, and it turns out that you're not. So you spend 1 week of your life to prove to an employer that didn't end up hiring you. However, you also didn't get paid for that trial week. That's the reality of trying to find employment in Paraguay. The legal code, the employer is under no obligation to pay you for the week you served. And if, let's say, you do end up getting along during that first week, the employer could decide to offer you an additional trial week or move on to a short-term contract of, say, 2 months. If the employee is being hired for, say, a 2-month period, then of course they're going to be paid. But the first week or two are not going to be paid a lot of the times. There are many annual holidays here in Paraguay, more than probably in any other country I've been to, which means that if you have a business here, you hire people, you can expect for them to not show up at work on a holiday. Now, what you can do is, let's say you insist on your employees being at your company, you can offer them to come, but you have to pay them double, okay? But they don't have to accept that. If they choose not to come to work, then that's fine. There's nothing you can do about it. However, normally people don't end up working on holidays. The last point I wanted to mention is that generally when you meet people here, and we're talking about friendships, romantic dates, family gatherings, not so important who you're meeting. What's more important is that a lot of the times people are late. You might be punctual and others not. So that's something you have to get used to here. Sometimes people are 30 minutes late, an hour late. This is totally normal here. There's not much you can do about it. A lot of people here have problems with punctuality, something that is totally unacceptable in a very modernized, fast-paced environment is totally acceptable and normal here in the heart of South America. Now, of course, people aren't late for all occasions. If something important is scheduled, say an event, church, a meeting for the company, people are generally punctual. But talking about things related to the personal lives, that's when Paraguayans are typically unpunctual. This is just something you have to think about when you want to start a business here, when you want to start putting in time on the grounds, because you are going to get confronted with the reality that people here are not efficient, unpunctual, and oftentimes unreliable as well. Oftentimes employers have to hire more than 5 people to find a keeper. They have to go through a number of people to find someone that's reliable. Being reliable is a highly valued skill here in Paraguay. Why? There is less supply than demand. So if you are reliable and say you want to work for a foreign corporation, you're probably going to have good luck finding a job. Despite of Paraguay's inefficiency, are you ready to obtain one of the easiest second residency permits in the world? Nomad Elite is running a special promo this month where you can obtain a Plan B for as little as 2,200 United States dollars. We also have a relocation package that is ideal for you if you're looking to settle down in Paraguay. The relocation package is on sale this month and you can purchase it for just $2,950. You save $1,000. If you're interested in signing up and working with Nomad Elite, please go to nomadelite.com and click on book a consultation. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope this information was helpful and I look forward to sharing more with you in the next video.